We are live, so let's try to share that link. And for the ladies and gentlemen hearing this, Fanboy Modeling School will start just a moment. Hello and welcome to Fanboy Modeling School. I, of course, am the Fat Mantis, and I'm here with...
Your man, Steve. Real name, no gimmicks. What's going on, my brother?
That's right. We are the Fanboy Modeling School. We're here to give you the news, or actually... I'm sorry, we don't give you news. There's nothing is new here. We tell you what the news was this week, and then we talk about it.
Yes, in amazing fashion. But I'm going to beat Mantis to it this time. Folks, make sure as you're coming in to hit that like button, share the stream, like the stream, subscribe to the channel. Help us grow back better. Fight Juice Online, bring you the highest quality content possible on the internet.
Booyah! I loved how you did that. Very eloquent. What up, Shaolin? How are you? How was your week? How's things going?
Man, things are it's just getting through the holidays. Christmas is coming, trying to get into the Christmas spirit. It it gets less and less every year that I'm on this wretched earth.
And I gotta say, for starters, I feel you, bro. But another thing I gotta say is that I got to apologize for everyone who's watching us on YouTube, because you can actually see us doing our DJing thing and like talking, and we've got a background, and this was the perfect opportunity to put up a Christmas background this week of all weeks, and I put some sort of tropical garbage. I'm sorry.
People in tropical climates have Christmas too. I dare say they might be having a better Christmas than those of us.
I know this is Floridian Christmas or some shit. What up, Laney? Oh, how are you? College boy. We've got a crazy week, but in terms of me and Christmas, I normally love Christmas. I am stressed out of my gourd. I was shopping. I was shopping during today. I tried to get all my shopping done in one day. Shopping like crazy. Got up early, running around. By the time it was time for lunch, I went to a Mickey D's. Yeah, I'm biting down on my Mickey D's. I'm chilling.
Bite down.
And when I was done with my food, I didn't think I had the energy to get up and leave the restaurant.
Oh, man.
I just wanted to sit there. I was just like,
you know what that is, man? It's because you're creative, right? And the holidays become less and less about giving and enjoying time with your family than biting the bullet and being like, let me just freaking see if I can get through another year with these people.
That was definitely what was going through my mind.
No, shout out to the family. Shout out to the families.
Dragon Lady, holler at your boy. Welcome to the stream.
Dragon Lady, Laney O's in the house. Hashtag fangirls for fanboys. Bex is here.
Oh, Bex likes your headgear.
Yes, my hair looks crazy. I'm in the pursuit of dreads, so I'm just letting it grow out right now.
Absolutely. And then of course we've got hashtag fangirls for fanboys is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. And Dragon Lady says I shop online. No, I feel you. I'm a last minute dude. Well, usually because I don't have the money till the last minute.
Right.
I'm a paycheck to paycheck sort of an idiot. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm like, well, it's this week. I gotta spend this check on gifts.
Well, you know what, man? Shout out to you, man. Doing your thing, brunch. Enjoy the last few videos. Good to see you back on the grind. I see you're at what is it, 468, 478 now on YouTube, man. You are
480, like 485 actually. Pushing so close to the 500 now. I don't know if 500 is going to do anything. But it'd be cool to have, right?
You know what though, man? It will do something. When you successfully take off and you think about these years of grinding from Spoon to Green Room, YouTube, Twitch, brunch, when you absolutely didn't want to do it, you're gonna look back on this, and I'm gonna be right there to be like, you almost gave up, you punk.
I hope I'm going through that story when they're like,
oh, you go.
When everyone's like, right before it was discovered, I would go at night onto the bridge and stand on the edge and think of throwing myself over. And one day they get the call, and I hope I'm going through that like right before the call happens.
Listen, man, I'll tell you this much. I was trying to do some streams on Spoon, and then I had some people come in. We hit some double digits, and then mysteriously one person, and I was like, you know what? This is God, not the universe. God clearly telling me no backsies. You go forward or you don't go at all. So in regards to the Hold Up TV, man, we got some stuff coming for Conversations That Matter. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm in that moment where I'm trying to lock down interviews, trying to aim a little bit higher, right? And I got some people that are like, well, let's see what you can get going in a few months. I'm like, all right, how about this? Fuck you. Don't come on the show.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love that attitude. I love that go-getter attitude. No, I'll say this, and I know everyone's like, you have all these issues with Spoon. Yes, I do have issues with Spoon. I will say that I do actually believe it is a starter app. It's like a baby app, and that there are bigger and better things. And if you're going to get discovered, it ain't going to be on Spoon.
Yes, shout out Bex, midlife crisis dreads. It's my hair. You know what I'm saying? I got it, so I'm gonna flaunt it. I'm gonna get them dreads. I'm gonna be like locklicious.
Lady says we in the house. And then we've got Laney O says, I'm super last minute. I know one gift for sure is going to be late. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as long as you get it out.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no one's getting their gifts on time.
Shout out Rogue Radio in the building. Welcome
Rogue
in.
Radio, holler at your boy.
So, my brother.
Oh, man.
James Gunn. Let's get right into it. No honorable mentions tonight, right? We got to get right to the
let's do it. Let's do it. And I here's what it is. I don't know if people are sick of talking about this. This is probably week 3 that the world is talking about it. But you know what it is? These celebrities, they're very dramatic motherfuckers. I think they do this on purpose, but they're the ones who aren't letting it die.
No. And you know what it is? James Gunn, as a certain YouTuber said, is the gift that keeps on giving, because he's given content and usually a very desolate month. As a YouTuber X has pointed out, Grace Randolph, shout out to her and everything she's doing over on her channel. OG, you can't take that away from her. She's an OG in this space.
An OG what is the real question?
He has even said that December, typically, we would all be watching holiday movies or attempting to go see a holiday movie. Things have changed drastically in the market. But James Gunn, the gift that just keeps on giving, hashtag nobody's fired, hashtag maybe a multiverse, hashtag we'll work together in the future. You got a great topic tonight. James Gunn versus Twitter.
Yes, versus Twitter. This fool. By the way, Beck says, I ain't got no kids, so I ain't buying nobody and Jack. Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the worst part of it.
Right.
So, when you have nephews and nieces and you have to get them gifts, and you're totally fine with it when they're kids, but at a certain age, there's a certain age in teenagehood where you're like, you're not a little kid anymore.
Yeah.
I don't need it. You can start getting adult crap. I can get you socks now.
Yeah. I'll buy you deodorant.
Like my brother and sister, they'd be sending me information like, here's my kid's Christmas list.
Right.
It's like, I'm getting your son a wife beater. A 4 Loco and get the fuck out of my face. Yeah.
Miss Hippie is in the house. What's up, Miss Hippie? Matt is in the house. What's going on, Matt?
What up, Mad Cat?
So let's jump right into this, man.
Let's get into
obviously, you and I had a conversation on this show about.
Oh wait, real quick. Matt says he's had all his Christmas shopping done in October.
Overachiever.
Dragon Lady says she's done all her. I think she said she did it a month ago. So it's crazy. But yes, welcome all. I'm sorry. Now let's get back to it. James Gunn.
So about, I would say 2 to 3 episodes ago, when this whole thing broke about James Gunn taking over, you and I were having a conversation, and this is not a Mantis I told you so moment, but you were being hopelessly optimistic about what was going to happen when James Gunn came in.
I literally have a video on my channel says James Gunn takes over DC. Everyone calm down. And I say everyone calm down in big red letters. Now I can't sleep because of this son of a bitch.
Me being me, I know the world as it is. I don't see it as I wish it to be. I deal with it as it is. So James Gunn has come in and not fired a bunch of people, right? There are reports breaking now, allegedly, about, Shazam. That's done. Obviously, Gal Gadot allegedly is not fired as well. The Rock made an official statement on Twitter today. They're not moving forward with Black Adam. Obviously, the Henry Cavill fallout. Where do you want to start, man? Where do you want to start?
Okay, so before we get into his latest drama and shenanigans, first thing I gotta say is if he doesn't reboot everyone, it'll be too weird for words. Now, there's a bunch of things we got to think about. One,
Right.
there's Peacemaker, his show, his baby,
Yeah.
and his wife is on that show.
Right.
as
She's
an
also in
actress.
Black Adam. Now that's important for context.
Yes. And so where's it going to cut off? Is it going to fire his wife?
Yes, he has to.
Yeah, I think he has to. But you know, the thing about these Hollywood guys, though, is I bet you anything before he took the deal, if he's smart before he took the deal, he should say to David Zaslav, I could do this. Problem is my wife is in the DC universe. Can you promise that she's going to get other work in other Warner Brothers films?
Right.
You know, some backroom shit that they don't put on paper.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done. But yes, I think he has to fire his wife.
That's actually a very, very like amicable deal right there. It's like, hey, babe, you understand that I love you and I cherish you, but the fact of the matter is, I have to start this whole thing over. But I talked to Dave, and you know, they'll keep their eye out for potential roles, and I got them to commit backroom deal to 3 films for you to be in.
Right, and let's face it, she's not a star. Like she can't play Harley Quinn. So I'm saying
no.
It's not like it shouldn't be any skin on their teeth if they put her in as an FBI agent in some.
She's like a Law and Order type of actress.
She is, and God bless her. She's beautiful. She's nice. I'm sure she's a great woman. She must have to put up a lot to be tolerated, you know, to be married to that man.
I'm sure she's going through a lot right now. But I don't care.
He's the most hated man in America. Lady says, man, F that noise. If you're not stressed for Christmas shopping, then you ain't doing it right. I absolutely agree.
So, but I really want to dive into this, you know, because I'm only halfway through my drink right now. And while everything is still making sense, go ahead.
I was going to ask you. So has he actually confirmed that people are coming back as their main character, as the character they already were?
No. So The Rock said in his tweet that there were conversations about a type of future endeavor multiversal type situation, which kind of echoes what Cavill had said, or what we had not heard Cavill said, but other people have been saying about the Cavill situation. I don't even think James Gunn had said the same thing. Here's the deal, right? I agree with Matt. I agree that James Gunn is a very talented person, and I think that whatever he's going to do is going to be his best attempt. I agree with you, however. In your last live stream, you said something that was extremely poignant, and I thought
thank you,
was amazing. You said that the Snyderverse fans have long memories, and it's not just the Snyderverse fans. The general normie fan also has a long memory, right? And their memory is going to be, I don't know. I really enjoy taking my kids to see an MCU movie. You know, it's like, I don't know what's going on with DC and all this stuff, but these Snyderverse fans have long memories, right? And they are not going to forgive this moment. They're not. Angry Joe, you know who Angry Joe is? Commentator on YouTube,
of course.
Video games and other geek culture.
Yeah, good old
stuff.
Angry Joe.
Yeah. His flip out rant in regards to Henry Cavill being fired lets you know. We're going to go through a psychological principle, like psychological dive of this, right? It lets you know how attached people were to the concept of Henry Cavill. Anyone can be honest about where the DCEU, formerly known as the DCEU, where it stood. There were huge gaps. We started getting some momentum with the Snyder Cut. I rewatched Black Adam today, as I told you before the stream, and rewatching it, I was like, I enjoy this movie more than Aquaman. I actually don't understand the hatred towards this movie, but that's my personal preference. I was like, this was a good time. So now James Gunn has to do something that I feel like is going to be, kind of an Olympian feat. He has to reconvince people that are mad at him that this is quality, and he has to convince people who don't give a shit that this is worth it.
Yeah, so here are 2 comments I got to say about your statement. First part of it, so check this out, to show you how much memory these fuckers have. The hashtag fire James Gunn has trended every day since it's happened. And here's what most of these types of hashtags just go away. People are like, get tired of tweeting it all the time. They're like, I'm gonna think about something else instead of being obsessed with a superhero show or movie. These guys aren't.
No. So real quick, just to be right sizing, including all the data, right? allegations, allegedly, all that stuff. How much of that hashtag fire James Gunn do you assume are bots? Because this is another allegation rolling around about the Snyder.
Okay, so
Snyder
this is the new Russian hacker of the internet, and I don't buy this shit. Anytime someone says something they don't like, they accuse it of being bots.
Yeah.
Somebody will be like, "I'm in the Bridgerton fan club, and they don't like Chloe from Bridgerton." Must be bots. No, nobody fucking programs a bot to bother you about a Bridgerton character. Just like this, these are not bots. These are just angry fanboys. I assure you, they're real. You know what I'm saying? No, the bigger question, I think the real question is,
right.
how many enraged people who just like to cause trouble on the Twitter are really going to boycott him? That's a different story. Because I have a feeling that a lot of them are just really insincere, and they're tweeting now, but when the new movies come out, they're just going to go.
Well, yeah. Shout out to Tyrone Magnus. Big brother. I like Tyrone. I like Tyrone Magnus, man. I think that he does his very best to remain impartial. But he said something today in regards to this whole situation. If it wasn't today, it was a video he released yesterday, which was, and this long video, everything he said was on point. But what he really said that was telling, I come from a clinical background, so I'm listening to what people were saying, and I'm listening to the emotions behind it. And he said, I am no longer excited for MCU projects, and I am no longer excited for DC projects. I will continue to watch them because it's my job, but I'm no longer excited. And I wonder how many people share that same sentiment where it's like, maybe they're not social engineers, they're not content creators, but they're sitting around going, I am no longer excited for these properties. But I'm going to go see the movie because I go see movies. It's like when you go see an ex-girlfriend. I hate you. I hate you, ex-girlfriend. I hate you. But, it is 2 a.m.
Lady says, can you imagine being fired by your husband? Sheesh. Yeah, damn. Matt Cat says, yes, Mantis, he needs to reboot everything, but I'm all for him recast those actors as other characters. For instance, I'd be okay if he cast his wife as Etta Candy in a Wonder Woman rebooted movie. That would actually be brilliant, Matt. I think that's an amazing idea. But the thing that it is that here's what's going on. If you think a reviewer, here's what it is. Most people, especially if you're self-created reviewer, like you or me, like Magnus, like Grace, like any of these people, you probably a fanboy or girl before you started, right?
Absolutely.
You're the most excited. You're the most excited for all these movies. And he's already tired of it, just like I'm tired of it. If they're tired of it, normies are tired of it. And they're tired of drama, negative energy, and reboots. I promise you, people are sick of all the reboots. Here's what it is. It's actually more likely that a hardcore fan will go to a reboot than a normie. A normie might be like, but I thought Henry Cavill was, I don't know who this guy is. I don't like this. You know what I'm saying? And I actually think, I understand why there's so much drama around the DCU. I understand why. I think it was a bad mistake. I think they should have just made it look like someone was coming in to rein in and make things work at the DCEU. Everything's fine here, guys. The building isn't on fire. That type of guy.
Right.
But I think that a reboot is you're gonna lose fans. It's exactly like, just like we were talking about earlier, switching apps.
Yeah.
Every time you switch apps, there's no way you're gonna bring 100% of your fan base with you. You're gonna lose people,
which is an insane concept, right? And I've never sidetrack. Can we go left for a second? As two people who've had to have people download multiple apps, the one thing when you told me, "Hey, I'm going to Green Room," I'm like, no problem. Download Green Room, make an account. My boy's there. I'm going. Found some other content creators on there. I love these reactions where it's like, another app, really? And I'm like. And I always ask the person, I'm like, hey, man, let me ask you a question, man. Do you have an issue going to the app store, downloading an app? And it's just, it's taking up space on my phone. Like most standard phones come with 128 gigabytes.
Ton of space. And not only that, well, trust me, like for instance, you saw this whole Lensa craze with the pictures. People will download a new app for nothing.
Oh my goodness.
Someone's like, check out this app where it shows a cat smelling his own ass. Yeah. And they're like, I better get this new app. They download app every day. So they're going to bitch that they have to download one to listen to you.
You know, I'm petty and gangster enough when a person who says they're tired of all these apps, when they come near me, I'm like, you have 4 different versions of Twitter on here. You have one version that allows you to screen your posts, another version that screens other people's posts. I mean, those are all settings in the actual app itself.
Yeah, one to tell you when people unfollow you, like you're that vindictive, like a psycho. But they have it. They have those apps, right?
They have it. They have it. But you know, here's the thing, man. I'm trying to understand where James Gunn is coming from, because he does have to take the helm of the second most toxic and volatile situation, not situation, but situation in regards to nerdom. Star Wars being the first, DC closely following thereafter.
Okay.
So he's got to reboot. He's got to do all these things. It can't be easy to be James Gunn. Right now, he's probably huddled up with Elon Musk, and they're having a support group like, today fucking sucked. Yeah, today really sucked.
I'm going to use an analogy.
Go for it.
And it's going to make me look like a huge scumbag. I think the women in the room will probably want to cancel me after they hear this analogy.
Okay, let's hear it.
But I think what is going on with James Gunn, and I understand this being a male, and maybe it's not a gender thing. Maybe I'm genderizing it.
Okay.
But being a male, you don't want to swim in like the filth and confusion and mistakes of another man, if that makes any sense.
Makes total sense.
And so a lot of times when you're getting into a relationship with a woman and she's really getting messed up from her last ex, sometimes men will leave because he's just like, yo, this man fucked her up. She's got 5 freaking kids. She can't hold that down, and she has nothing but baggage from her ex. I'm out of here.
Right.
Because I don't want to swim in these murky waters. That's what I think James Gunn's feeling, and I understand it. He wants to tell his Superman story without having to be bogged down with all the drama that happened before. It's completely understandable.
Yeah. And just to let you know, that's not a sexist thing to say. Women feel the same. I've heard women say the exact same thing in regards to dating men with children, in regards to dating men that have dealt with, who have mommy issues. Don't ever let anyone tie you to the term sexist, Mantis. They say it, you challenge them. All right. And if you don't want to challenge them, you're like, hey, I'm just going to call Steve really quick, and he's just going to speak on my behalf.
I'm going to put you on speaker.
I think that's a great analogy. I agree with you 100%. But James Gunn versus Twitter, does he need to, as we say in the Black community, shut the fuck up?
He does, because you know what it is. I wish James Gunn was black. Because he would actually shut people down, but he's doing the half-ass shit, and I don't respect. It's hard to respect
political answers.
Yeah, where he's giving political answers, he's playing the victim. He suddenly is like, it's just like, obviously we all catch feelings. You know, our feelings are always hurt when people say negative things about you, and there's only so much one can take. And like, he's doing these political things, and I was just like, stop pretending you're a victim. And so, for those who don't know the history of James Gunn, he got caught. He was fired originally from Marvel at one point because old tweets. This is the classic cancellation thing happened to him, and he would make pedophilic jokes on Twitter.
Yuck!
And it's like, and I'm sorry, anyone who has done that, and he did a lot. It's not just one tweet; it's a ton of tweets because he thought it was being funny. Anyone who does that cannot play victim ever again in the rest of their life.
No. You're in the big boys side of the pool. Now,
you can speak like a big boy. You can get smacked around like a big boy. You know you did something controversial. Now take it like a man. He's pretending he's a victim, and like all these things. And what it is he wants everyone to like him. He thinks he can pull this off. Here's what it is. If I was going in there and I was like, I don't want to swim in another man's wake, I'm firing them all. I would at least realize these motherfuckers are going to hate me for this.
Yeah. Accept it. Creatively, though, I do think there was an opportunity for him to look at the slate and say, hey, we got the Flash movie coming out. That can be my reboot, and I can resituate these actors. But I understand recasting the whole lot of them. Now, let me speak directly to the Snyderverse fandom, right? There was a report that came out that was reported on by Comic Book Cast, I believe is the name of the podcast. Really enjoy that guy. I think he's Canadian or something. He's got kind of an accent. He's
all these YouTubers, all successful YouTubers are Canadian somehow.
Derpy,
welcome in.
Comic Book Cast reported on a report that Walter Hamada wanted to rehire Henry Cavill, wanted to reestablish, even though he had said the Snyder cut was a cul-de-sac, his words, wanted to recast, bring Henry Cavill back and continue on with that story. The ironic thing, even Comic Book Cast had to say on it, is that the Snyderverse community was so #fire Walter Hamada. You fired the person that might have bent the knee, the same regime that bent the knee to the Snyderverse, the Snyder cut in the first place. Now, this is where we need to be responsible as fans, you and me included. Sometimes you get a stinker. Sometimes you get a Dark World. Sometimes you get an Iron Man 3. You just got to let the creatives bring their vision to you.
Well, so here's what Kevin Feige did well. And before we do that, let's catch up with chat. Laney says Cavill was done dirty. Miss Hippie says the fans are getting burnt out. I feel you. Shaolin says I'm tired of DC's ineptitude. Laney says I'm tired of all media's ineptitude. Miss Hippie agrees with that. Laney says Mantis, I'll fight you. That's because of the whole sexist thing.
No, that was because of the app thing.
Oh, right. Yeah, Dragon Lady says that's the price you have to pay. Exactly. When you do something stupid, if you're a Twitter person, you should know you're going to get destroyed for it. It happens. Derpy of the 501st Legion says, can we all agree that the only Justice League 7 members we want adapted to film is Paul Dini's DCAU version, and the intro to the show to start the film, and the Watchtower, we can agree whatever plot it is. Yo, I love your thought process, and I will say this. I'm not going to say that the Snyderverse or the way he handled it was perfect. As a matter of fact, I think it's not really the Justice League if you don't have Green Lantern on it.
Right.
And he could have given us a Green Lantern. He failed to do that. Whatever. But I agree. I agree, Derpy. Absolutely.
Can I toss something out to you that Angry Joe said in regard?
Yeah, please.
Man, I know we're jumping around.
It's fine.
Angry Joe said that we're tired. We don't want another reboot. We want to see Superman in the next installment of his story, which is, spacebound, spacefaring story, seeing him facing
Agrees
off.
with me. That's what I was saying in my stream.
Yeah. You too.
Tired of him, farm boy, going to the big city and meeting Lois. I don't want to see that again. Even if they don't do an origin. That's what James Gunn actually described on his Twitter. He's like, I'm going to do a thing where he goes to the big city and he meets Lois and all. And I'm like, I don't need this.
No.
He needs to be fighting cosmic threats.
Yeah, it's time for Superman to face down Orion, right?
Yeah.
Comic book accurate here. It's time for Superman to face down Darkseid Sun that looks like Ulick. All right. That never thought that. I know. Am I the only person that's never You read comics, right?
Yes, I know what you're talking about. I know you're talking about.
You've never seen Darkseid Sun and said, is that not Ulick from the Troll?
Oh, yeah, for the Troll. You wrote the Troll.
But it's time for us to see Superman face down villains that can fight him. And I think that's why Man of Steel was genius. I love the fact that in Man of Steel they got right to General Zod, because it was like Superman had to fight someone nearly on par with him. Some people would make the argument that General Zod and his girlfriend, they had just come into their powers, so they weren't where he was in the fight. Absolutely.
But I think that is the only reason he won. And actually, if you're watching, and so here's what I'm saying: I don't think Snyder's a genius, but I do respect him as a filmmaker. Okay. And so here's the whole thing: if you watch the behind the scenes of Man of Steel, I actually really like Man of Steel. Some people kind of shit on it. I really love it. He's giving an explanation to the fighting style of the different Kryptonians. Yeah, and then he goes, well, I made sure that the Zod and his men are trained in martial arts, and they're going to fight using martial arts moves. While, Henry Cavill, his Superman's just going to be throwing frat boy haymakers because he had no reason to train ever. He's never met anyone as strong as him, so he's never bothered. And I was like, this guy really understands details.
No, and I thought that was a great detail. One of the opening moments in that movie when Russell Crowe, Superman's dad, is fighting General Zod in his form of hand-to-hand. It was almost sticky hand Wing Chun, but it was really, really functional. No disrespect to the Wing Chun community.
Well, it is a movie. I know. I even I agree. Most kung fu is better for a movie, but moving on.
I need people coming, but if you're gonna come, make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
So here is what I think is the actual problem with the DCEU.
Okay.
And why it wasn't allowed to continue.
What is it called now? It's no longer the DCEU. It's DC Studios.
They just dropped the E. It's DCU. That's not even clever. That's not even clever. So check this out. Yeah, here's the problem. So Iron Man 1, amazing, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
Iron Man 2, So guess what they did for 3? They replaced the director. Yeah. And you'll see the same thing in Thor. Thor 2 sucks so bad, that guy never came back to direct. Kevin Feige had the smarts to be like, well, if it's not working, we'll just replace him, but keep going with the series. Why throw out the baby with the bathwater, as they say, right? Yeah. However, in DC, they needed to do that, and they didn't. And they perceived the entire movie franchise ruined because Zack Snyder fucked it up here and there. And really, they should have. I do believe it would have been okay to be like, Zack, we're giving you your walking papers.
So historically, I don't think that he did fuck it up, man. So
I love his version of Justice League, but what it is as soon as here's the moment he turned his back from Justice League, and everybody knows that's pretty grimy. That's a grimy story. They're like, let's replace him. They should have just delayed the movie, but they immediately didn't have faith in him. And then when that didn't work out, they didn't have faith in the entire franchise. That's insanity.
So historically, if from what's been reported, he had a death in the family, and he had to step away from the project.
His daughter, suicide.
Yeah, they brought in Josh Whedon, so we got the Whedon cut of Justice League, right? What was really the nail in the coffin, I think, for Zack Snyder was B versus S, Batman versus Superman. That movie, as it was, should not have been released.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah. And I'm not saying that I don't love the Snyder cut of Justice League, but they should have said after BVS, we're going to get a different director to direct Justice League.
Right. Okay.
And I think that's why Kevin Feige is the man. That's what it is. He's the manager, and he's just like, you know what? This isn't working. Get it out of here.
Yeah.
This isn't. And however, they, and I think they should have manned up. And because if Snyder was working in the Marvel universe, he would have had 2 movies, Man of Steel and BVS, and they would have been like, and Kevin Feige would have been like, you know what? Your third one, you're not going to do the third one.
Can you go to Derpy's comment? Not the James Gunn one, but the one that's
let's read them all real quick. Derpy, I really wish James Gunn will borrow certain intros from shows and cartoons from different and use those intros adapted to live action and start films like that, so it's paying off. Well, I feel like, honestly, I don't know. I feel like they should stay in the cartoon. I don't think the intros are that important, but
go ahead. You're on.
I do think everyone's favorite Justice League is
the cartoon.
Is the cartoon one, and I do agree. And maybe they might even want to inspire some adventures based off of those comics, or not comics, but episodes. But I do think, in terms of stylistic, taking an intro is just style, and I think you should let the director do his own style.
Bro, I'm just gonna say something right now, man. Why not just adapt the animated version to live action? Because even when they soft rebooted the animated DC, and I believe it started with Batman, Superman war or some shit like that.
Right. When they fight,
and then you get
that was the good Batman v Superman.
Bro, if they did the stories from the animated, amazing. Continue. I'm sorry.
Dragon Lady says, I'm back. Excellent. Good to have you back always. Snyder fans watched the Watchmen film and thought to themselves that he could do Batman and DC as whole. Look at this universe 10 years later. It's just saying, I feel you. We love his style. I love his style. And I honestly wouldn't mind if Snyder directed the next 10 movies. However, I understand from a business point of view why an exec would be like, well, let's get a new director on this.
Yeah, he's got to be reined in. Laney just dropped some fire in the chat. Go ahead.
Snyder cut Justice League. Don't care how long it was worth every second. I agree. It does not feel like 4 hours.
Read your next comment, please. Read it.
Wait, real quick. A lady says, how many Lois Lanes do we have to go through? I agree. And Shaolin says, Mongol. He needs to fight Mongol. Absolutely agree with that. X-Men, for example, the animated series was amazing. The movies were subpar. Yes, okay, so I do believe that they should use influence. I don't think it's wrong to say that the comic, which was of both, who were very popular, are fine also places to look at. I would. Here's what I'm saying: it's the only culture of Justice League is not the animated. There's many forms and issues and graphic novels of Justice League that are amazing. Same with X-Men.
Yeah,
and so I don't think they need to copy the animated. However, they should reference it certainly.
So it's a continuity thing, and I was thinking about this when I was getting ready for the show tonight, right? DC, not just the studio, has huge issues. You do realize, right, that the what is the new 50, the new 52, or whatever?
Yeah,
shit sucked. We can all.
I absolutely I hate it.
And then someone came up with a great idea, which was risky. They said, "Hey, why don't we use the Watchmen? Let's bring the Watchmen to the DCU." They do Doomsday Clock. They have the perfect reboot scenario.
Yeah, the problem is.
Wait, I'm not done yet. God damn it! Okay. The perfect reboot scenario. They take Manhattan off the board and they just use him as a plot device to reboot the new 52. And it's like, okay, he was the cause of the new 52. Now everything's gone back in its proper Justice League of Society. Their Justice League Society or whatever it is, the JSA. They're back. Everything happened the way it was supposed to. It played out. They couldn't leave well enough alone. They're like, no. The Batman.
Right, didn't they do another one?
Yeah, they're like, the Batman who laughs also mess with the continuity. And then they just concluded the Dark Crisis.
And that's another thing. I want them to stop having crossovers called Crisis. They had one good, maybe they have two good crises. Maybe three. There's 50, so 3 is small, guys. But they need everything's a crisis every year. They're like, we'll have a new crisis. They're like the diaper crisis, and the time crisis, the bitch crisis.
This is the problem they experienced with even when Snyder was making the films. They didn't have someone at the helm to say enough is enough, right? And they didn't have someone above that person to say, hey, no, really, enough is enough. And that's why I'm happy Big Bob is back. Right? Because Kevin Feige has too many bosses with other Bob. So he's going to ring in some shit. He's like,
yes, we need a proactive leader to pull people in. Derby says, I bring Zack Snyder as action sequence visually and keep him far away from writing. Writers' room agreed. Yes, I absolutely agree. That's actually brilliant. And actually, you know what I would have actually fired him as a director, but kept him as a producer. I'd be like, you know what? We'll let you produce 20 films. Your big picture and your action and visuals guy, but you're not going to write anything.
No,
or direct anything.
And every time he bucked back, I'd be like, "Do you remember Sucker Punch?"
No, but I'm saying offer him so many movies that he's going to get filthy rich anyway, and then he'll be like, "Okay, cool," and he'll be everyone's boss. He'll like that.
And then when he bucks back, I'd be like, "Do you remember that you made Sucker Punch?"
That's the movie everyone brings up. Every director has one movie that they're ashamed of. Lady says we don't want copies. We just want we want them to be just as good. Yes, that's true. The writers these days don't get the lore. Yes, so this is a problem with writing in general. In the modern day of writing, they're hiring people who have no experience. We talked about this. Yeah. No experience or no love for the material they're writing for.
And then when they are exposed to the source material, they go, I just think that we can bring a new interpretation to it. And as soon as they said that, I'm like, kill that man. Kill that man.
They're like, we want a less misogynist Witcher.
Talking about.
Jeremy says, wouldn't let him direct the film, though. He would just do visuals and fighting sequence. Yeah, I'd make him the producer so that he has control of that stuff. Batman had good new 52 stories and
yes, he had a couple of arcs.
I think everyone had some good 52. I hated all Supermans. I hated all of Supermans.
Yeah. So, all right. In closing, I just want to turn it over to you, right? But I want to ask a question, right? And I ask this question because it needs to be asked. You're the bigger DC fan between the two of us. You've always been the bigger DC fan. I've enjoyed a lot of their properties and illustration and the comics and stuff like that. But I'm not as big into it as you, but I know all the lore there is to know. I respect it. But as a fan, do you think that you, Mantis, are you going to go see these movies because you have to report on them or because you think you're going to enjoy them?
I'm not going to see them at all.
Oh, shit, son.
Yeah.
And he's not lying. Well, he saw Eternals. He might not be lying, folks, right?
No, Eternals is the thing that made me realize that I should have stuck to my gut.
So wait. Let me get this straight. You and I are leaving work one day, right? And I say, hey, let's just go upstairs and go see a movie. My treat. You're not going to go see it?
So the only circumstance that I will see it is if I know they're not getting revenue off of it. As a matter of fact, we're probably going to get our channel closed for this.
Don't say it then.
I will do my best to pirate it and share it with as many haters as possible so that man does not get a goddamn dime.
He said it. Craziness.
And I've just used the storyboards and storylines from Paul Dini era, adapt to live action because it's literally like I'm saying, yes, use them as a blueprint. But obviously, I want directors to be able to do their own thing. Like, for instance, I actually believe. So in Marvel, for those who don't know, and I think Burpee probably knows, that Marvel has a different directing team to do action movies.
Yeah,
they can hire a director who's like an artiste, doesn't know anything about action. They're like, we'll take care of the action. Don't worry. And honestly, I think if Patty Jenkins has had that, I think it would have saved Wonder Woman.
Well, she did have that, right? She had that with the first Wonder Woman. And
right.
I got to give a shout out to Big Campia for saying this, right? She had that. And
they were Snyder's guys.
Yes. And then she fired them and did Wonder Woman 1984.
Because you know how a lot of cheesy things happen in her action sequences? They would have definitely not put that in, and they would have definitely made them fight. And like, for instance, her fight with Cheetah at the end, that could have been epic. And I think it should have been epic. I think someone who knows action would have done it well.
You know what's crazy though? When you watch the fight scene, everything, the formula leading up to the final confrontation between the two of them, I thought, all right, this is about to be a drag out battle right now. These two are going to get it in. And it wasn't that.
Why did she put on the armor if it would have taken 2 seconds to beat her? She already overpowered Cheetah.
Why did she go to Final Form Cheetah? Right? She went Dragon Ball Z on us. And I'm like,
that would have been cool if she beats her easily and she's like, this isn't Final Form yet. He goes some Super Cheetah and is like, she's Cheetah. She should have been moving super fast. I don't know, man. Like that those fights could have been epic. Even the mall scene. The mall scene sets the tone for the movie of Wonder Woman. We're talking about Wonder Woman 1984, those who are not in the know. But the ball scene in the beginning sets the tone, and it's silly, and it's stupid, and it's childish. And I've seen episodes of Power Rangers that are more better. Lainey says that this issue is we keep hiring people with big names who may have great box office hits, but if you don't understand the backstory of these comics / animation series, then it's a full issue. Correct.
So pause right there. I was contemplating on this today. There has not been a franchise since, I don't know if there was a franchise like this, that committed to having such big names, not newer names, Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, not as big as Robert Downey Jr., come into something, right? They had fucking Ben Affleck, man. You got freaking Ben Affleck to commit to doing a movie with you. And the bag was fumbled. The bag was fumbled greatly. The DC has had so many opportunities to do something great, and it just got fumbled every time. Yeah. But
as Shaolin said, the ineptitude of DC.
I don't want to spend all night talking about this. James Gunn, you have, in my opinion, Mantis, I want you to have the last word on this, but it has to be a 10, right? The next movie under his regime cannot be an 8.
That's my problem. I would be fine if he was in charge of shit, but he's also writing the Superman movie. And it was like, for starters, that's a conflict of interest. Imagine if Kevin Feige wrote a movie. Right. He'd be like, you guys have to do this. And there's no one editing. Right? Another thing is all he can do is edgelord shit.
Yeah.
I loved Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I love Guardians of the Galaxy so far. I love the Suicide Squad 2. I love all the stuff that he produces. The problem is, you notice the tone of it?
Yeah, something takes over your mind, and then you have to fight it.
Right,
Or
but, he's repetitive, everything's edgy, there's a lot of toilet humor. I don't want Superman to be like that.
no. But let's see if we'll see if he can stretch his creative muscles. Are you ready to move on to
Well, we gotta first talk about the drama surrounding the end of it, right?
okay, go for it.
So, there was a vicious rumor that Henry Cavill was so upset he fired his manager,
Danny Garcia.
Danny Garcia, and everyone was not everyone, a lot of people were reporting on it.
So, okay, so if we're going to talk about that and we're going to talk about people misreporting on things and not being ethical in their report, then we also got to talk about the fact that a smear campaign came out in regards to Henry Cavill and The Witcher, and
Right.
certain big YouTubers reported on it and did not include in their report that the person who leaked these allegations then retracted the statements. So
Right. And so this is the side drama that continues to grow out of this whole mess that we've been talking about. And you know what's messed up about the whole it starts with the YouTubers in general, that they're not the press, so they don't need to ever issue a retraction.
right.
I could do a YouTube video, and let's say I had 1 million fans, or let's say I have 944,000 because I've been trying for 14 years to get 1 million, and I can't. Well, normal people get it in 3 or 4 years, and I have that many I have that clout level of clout, and I say Henry Cavill is a fat drunk idiot who beats his wife. Later on, when it's proven not to be true, I don't have to say anything. I don't have to fix anything. I don't have to correct anything. A journalist has to.
Yeah.
Their paper is going to make them say apologize. They're going to have an article in it. Apologize. Last episode we said this. This is not true. But they don't. They can smear all day long, these sons of bitches.
Unless you're Tasha K, who learned her lesson the hard way.
She heard or learned the hard way. But like, for instance, as we saw on Twitter today earlier, somebody pointed out that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's he had been delaying talking about what his feelings about anything. He finally gives his resignation letter. Same when Gal Gadot and Henry Cavill did. He finally puts it up on Twitter. Guys, great working with you. I'm told it's not happening. No more Black Adam. And then one person who trashes this motherfucker on a daily basis. There's no way Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson tunes in to this person, so there's no way he would know they're a horrible person. And that person goes, at Black Adam, really classy, man. And he's like, thanks. I appreciate you. Thank you. Dwayne's being like a humble, nice guy. Little does he know he's speaking to a devil who slanders his name every fucking day in a live stream.
So let's be right sized about a few things, right, man? I'm a huge proponent in the fact that most people, let me see how eloquently I can say this, right? I'm going to lean on some old Confucius hood-like philosophy.
Confucius hood shit. I love it.
Most people will say things about you, but they'll never say things to you, because when it boils down to it, if you said it to my face in person, there might be an immediate reaction.
Right.
If I'm the type of person who doesn't care about anything other than my honor. So in regards to this person's coverage of Black Adam, in regards to their coverage of Henry Cavill, they have they have gone to the line of agreeing that Henry Cavill may have some chauvinistic views. There's no proof of it. There's only allegations, right?
This person even said, do you remember what they said?
I remember.
They said Henry Cavill is in a video game cult.
Yes. And they implied heavily that he would be susceptible to being indoctrinated. My issue with this type of stuff, and this is the hood Confucius shit, right? And let me start with The Rock, right? I think that The Rock handled this whole thing the best way he could. The same person said that maybe The Rock and Danny Garcia don't understand, their way of doing promotion and their way of negotiating. They're used to the wrestling world. When they said this, I was like, that is one of the worst takes. I was going to use the word idiotic, but I was like, that is one of the worst takes. One, you have to remember that everything that goes on in regards to the WWE is all fake, right? negotiations, all that stuff. Anything you see publicly, go ahead.
But another thing is, he used to be in the WWE. He's been in Hollywood forever. It's been a while. People can't lean on this. He's just a dumb wrestler thing. He's been in Hollywood for way longer now.
He has. And I think the great thing that The Rock has going for him, even if you look at the beef with Vin Diesel, is he's a big motherfucker. And people react to big motherfuckers, tough motherfuckers, differently. The Rock is a no bullshit type of guy, even though he's a smiley character. And in his tweet today, he alluded to that. He's like, I say things directly. And when this person references the way things are done in Hollywood, obviously The Rock is going to rub people wrong in a place where everything's fake, right? He's going to say what he means and he's going to mean what he says, right? And in regards to their coverage of the supposed allegations of Henry Cavill being in being exposed to toxic video game groups and all that stuff, there's no proof of it, right? Even the showrunners on The Witcher have not commented on him being toxic, quote unquote. I think Henry Cavill is the same type of guy as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who walks into a room who says, hey, I'm a big fan of this property. I think that we should stick as closely as possible to the source material.
Check this out.
Does that make you confrontational? Does it actually make you confrontational if you say, go for it?
Yo, and it has everything to do with what I was going to say a second ago. But yeah, absolutely. Yo, so here's what it is. A podcast got someone, not even the showrunner, just a writer from the writer's room. Those who don't know, shows have multiple writers. They have a whole room of writers to come up with ideas and help fix each other's crap to make sure it's, the right amount of funny, the right amount of cool. So this is just a writer. It's not the head writer, the showrunner. And this person got on a podcast and they trashed Henry Cavill. They said they made all these allegations. He's toxic. He's addicted to video games. He demands all these things. And they're like, what did he demand? He's like, he demand that we rewrite the scripts and make them more like the source. I have seen nothing wrong with that.
No, at all. But here's the worst thing about this, right? This person reported on allegations that were told to them, right? And then
it wasn't even firsthand knowledge.
No, yeah, they were told to them. Like literally, if you go look up the actual tweets associated with this, or the IG post, whatever it is, they literally state that in their retraction statement. Here's the humdinger, right? Bigger YouTubers did not report on the retraction, and that bothers me.
Yeah, they did the first one. They'd be like, look at the toxicity that he generates. And then they didn't. Catching up with chat, we have Matt Cat saying, I'm going to see all the new DCU movies, except any of those Matt Reeves Batman movies. The Batman was horrible. I agree. I'm actually making my list for best and worst movies of the year. And the more, I tried to rewatch the Batman, and I was like, I don't like this movie at all. Maybe not at all. I gave it like a C, maybe. And I know a lot of people love it, and they're going to hate on me, but it's not my thing. So I do agree with you on that one, Matt. Derby says, just base Superman's design and tone after Matt Fleischer's cartoon, but written plot and storyboards similar 90s. Yo, the 90s cartoon, everyone talks about how good Batman 90s cartoon is. Superman, the animated series, is an amazing series. I mean, okay, my fan castings, hear me out. Okay, so Derby's going to give us some fan castings. Matt Cat says that cheetah fight should have been the best, longest fight in the movie. Instead, we got Pedro Pascal scream, Alistair, for 2 minutes. David Mujaz, Dick Grayson, Robin, Sadie Sink for Barbara Gordon. Agree with that one. I don't know who the first guy is. For the first film, kind of like Arkham Origins. Mid-credit would see her making her own Batgirl costume, and Lois Lane is Natalia Dyer. I'm gonna have to look these people up. I'm not actually sure. I'm not hip to all these people, but I love Sadie Sink as Batgirl, and maybe this will be a good thing. I don't know if you're a Sadie Sink fan. I'm a huge Sadie Sink fan.
Wait, I don't recognize the name immediately.
She is the redheaded girl from Stranger Things. Do you watch Stranger Things?
No, but okay.
She had the suicide arc this last season. She's my favorite character from Stranger Things. A lot of people love her. Okay. She's a cute redhead. I think she'd be a great Barbara Gordon. Maybe that'll come out of this. That'll be good. Matt says, I will never retract my scoop that Mantis is being replaced as host of the Fanboy Modeling School with Grace Randall. I have a reliable source on that. I love the scoopers who are like, my friend, you know what my friend has to say?
My friend
says the Mandalorian is being canceled. I'm like, yeah, your imaginary friend. Dragon Lady says, all right, guys, I'm calling it a night. I'm tired, but good night. God bless. Merry Christmas. God bless you. Dragon Lady, we love you. Good night. Indeed. And Merry Christmas. Mississippi says, I read or watched something recently about The Rock versus Brendan Fraser and how after The Mummy, that in the third Mummy movie, they booted Brandon because The Rock. So I don't. I think that's a harsh way of looking at it. Basically, Brendan Fraser did 3 Mummy movies. In the third one, he fights the mystical return of the Scorpion King. Then after that, they did.
I got to correct you. He did 4 Mummy movies because he fights Jet Li in the very.
Oh, right. Okay, so he does 4 movies. Then after that, they just did the origin of the Scorpion King. That's a spin-off movie. He didn't replace Brendan Fraser. It's a totally different movie. It takes place in ancient times.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's fair to say that he replaced him.
No,
I just think the Mummy movies had done their thing and they were done.
So I just no. So I'm sorry. There's 3 Mummy movies. So the first one he fights Imhotep. Second one, Imhotep comes back and they're trying to fight Scorpion King. Third one, they fight Jet Li and they're fighting in the Shangri-La or some shit like that. Go ahead. There we go.
But yeah, I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's fair to say Rock took his job or anything. I just think that they were done with the Mummy movies and they were ready to do something else, and they're not really,
Go ahead.
And then we've got Matt saying, remember when Cavill wanted them to take death of the horse in The Witcher seriously instead of making a joke out of it?
Yeah.
I mean, I actually don't know about that one.
So, in season 2 of The Witcher, and Matt, I'm glad you're here because you're always my fact checker on lore. The Witcher's horse dies. And it's kind of a big deal because I'm pretty sure in The Witcher 3, he had that same horse up into The Witcher 3. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. So if they were making a joke about it, he was very connected to this horse. And that might seem silly, but the man's out there slaying demons, right? So,
he was like, you can't kill my horse. The horse lives on.
Oh, or not make a joke of it. Not make a joke. It was.
Right. Yeah.
It was a big part of The Witcher season 2.
That sounds like so on point and good, and I respect Henry Cavill for that.
Yeah, and Henry Cavill's a good guy, man. He's a good guy.
Lainey loves Sadie Sink. You know how that song that from the 80s that they brought back for that thing? Running up that hill, I'll make a deal with God.
Yeah.
You know that song? It's played all the time everywhere you go. That scene is a Sadie Sink scene.
Oh, okay.
So she is responsible for making that thing. Sadie Sink is overrated, says Matt. Mississippi says my memory blows. It's
there's no need to apologize.
David Muzos played Bruce Wayne on the show Gotham. That kid and Natalie Dreyer is Nancy Wheeler as Lois Lane. She's only 27 and David is 21 and Sadie is 20. It's perfect. Yeah, I'm going to take your word for it. I'm saying I'm going to look up these actors.
Are you ready to jump off DC after you read the comments? Because I really want to get into Geek Culture Explained and the Wolverine Files.
Okay, yeah. Steve, unfortunately, The Witcher is one of those fandoms I know nothing about. Never played or watched the games and never read the books either, says Matt Cat.
Matt, I understand that because it's a dense lore and it's an even more intense community. I tried to play The Witcher 3 and now I'm completely ready for people to attack me. I did not enjoy the combat style, but it's not because it was bad. I just got through playing Shadow of Mordor, and to go from Shadow of Mordor to The Witcher 3 combat style was a little slow for me. It was a little slow. I came from a game where I was literally cutting orcs' heads off to something a bit more complex, right? So,
so in conclusion, James Gunn is battling people on Twitter, which is usually a mistake. And that's another thing. That's not what the head of a studio does.
No, unfortunately.
That's what the creator does. A director or writer can fight with people on Twitter. Kevin Feige, notice, stays silent. Does not mess with you. No matter what they say about Marvel Universe, doesn't say anything, right?
He's like, I'm not arguing with poor people.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. James Gunn, you don't have to prove anything to anyone. You're the one in charge. If he's so confident he's going to make $1 billion, then just make your movie, and don't care what the peons like the fat Mantis have to say. And then we got Henry Cavill, and I want to make a point clear, just in case we didn't make it clear. There have been rumors of his toxicity, but the girl who said that he was toxic reneged on that. Said, I only heard from other people. I was never really there, and has perfectly made it clear that that was an over-elaborated lie that she said during a podcast, probably to look cool.
Yeah, it was complete retraction and a complete confirmation that someone leaked some information and she should not have reported on it, and called her, or that person, I didn't even know it was the girl who reported it. You should have a higher standard, even as a YouTuber, not
that says I'm not. He's quoting you. I'm not arguing poor people. But it's good advice, guys. You have money, do not argue with poor people. It will just make you look like you're poor.
Yeah, it'll make you look like a tyrant. It's like, wait, is this rich guy on Twitter like, I got so much money that I'm like,
bashing some kid who lives in his mom's basement?
Exactly.
And then ultimately, who's the winner of all this so far? Right now, not financially, but in terms of class, it is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He looked like a class act. He's a good guy. We want to see more of him. I'm just waiting for James Gunn to ruin this.
Yes. I gotta make one more point, man. I just not read, but watched the conclusion of DC's Dark Crisis, which Black Adam played a huge part of, and just proving that there's huge continuity issues even in the comic, because he also has a standalone comic where he turns over his powers to an ancestor of his. But Black Adam played a huge part in the Black Crisis, the Dark Crisis continuity, or whatever the story arc is. But this is how influential Dwayne is. I'll send you the picture. I don't know if this was on purpose, and it could be me projecting, but I don't think it is. He looks like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in this comic, bro.
I honestly think that the Black Adam movie is going to have lasting ramifications on the series and people's just image of Black Adam. And I think in hindsight, when people look back, they're going to realize how much they love it. But right now, there's political reason to either not appreciate it or not, advocate for it.
It was a great movie. I rewatched it. The only thing I wish they would have done different, the one thing I'll concede on personally, is that Gang should have been tied to Darkseid. Like, if you really want to pull it, if Dwayne really wanted to pull a dick out on the table type of mood, he should have been like, yo, I don't want to not acknowledge the Snyder cut. I want Gang.
I believe that they were eventually going to be.
Okay.
So you know how they kill what's his face, Steppenwolf, at the end of the Snyder cut?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that him funding Gang is his second attempt, and I think in future movies it's gonna reveal that they're really funded and given weapons by Darkseid. And so I think it's just a shame we won't be able to see that. It's upsetting, but we can now move on. And you actually want to switch it to a Marvel thing, don't you?
Yeah, I want to switch it to a Marvel thing. I want to give a big shout out to another OG on this platform. Yes, Miss Hippie, I believe that Black Adam is worth watching, especially if you get HBO Max. And if you have it for free, that's some more bullshit I want to address right now. You lied to me, but it wasn't your fault. AT&T ended my subscription to HBO Max without telling me, because of the merger and the sale. And that's not your fault, but I said this is going to happen. I'm like, the minute they sold to Discovery, I was like, they're going to end my free shit.
You know what's totally weird?
What?
You know what they did with my sister?
What'd they do?
They increased her bill and started charging her for HBO Max once the freedom ended. But they didn't tell her.
Yeah.
So she was just looked at her bill and she was like, actually, you know why she looked at her bill? Because you said something last episode.
Yeah.
And she said, they're not charging me for HBO Max. And then she looked and she's like, oh shit, they are. And when her free amount ended, they just started charging her without saying.
You can count on one thing. I don't ever get mad about on a whim. It's literally because of Mantis. I woke up last weekend and I'm sorry. Whenever the day before Black Adam was supposed to come on HBO Max, I was gonna watch everything DC before Black Adam came out. I was gonna rewatch the Snyder Cut. I was gonna rewatch B versus S. I was gonna watch everything. I go to log into HBO Max and I cannot get access. And I notice when it says, do you want to sign in with your personal account or through your TV subscriber, that direct TV stream or whatever that shit's called now was not listed. And I finally called and spoke to a nice young man that was in the Bangladesh area. And he explained to me that my subscription for HBO Max was tied to an old plan and it was no longer being provided, which ex facto, like we talked about on the show, when they made the merger, I was like, now that they've done this, there's no reason for them to give this to me for free. They're going to need every penny. So I signed up for HBO Max through Hulu, and we're canceling our DirecTV Now stream because literally at this point, if AT&T has nothing to do with Warner Brothers, the next thing to go is we're switching phone services. There's no reason for me to stay with AT&T. I literally stayed for free HBO.
Right. That's fascinating. I didn't even think about that.
But let's go into this. So
Matt says Dark Crisis was terrible. I'm with Mantis. All these crises are ridiculous.
Yeah, too many. Matt, they should have ended with Doomsday Clock. That should have been it.
I agree. And they should have done one reboot and kept it like that.
Yes.
Hippie, watch at Black Adam. You will have a good time.
You'll have a good time. So Rob from Geek Culture Explained, also of Comics Explained. I feel like you guys would make really good friends. Whenever I watch his content, it reminds me of you, and it's not because he's light skinned.
Because the secret is we're really the same man.
At one point
I put on a voice changer.
I was trying to prove it, but he released a video. He's doing something different over on Geek Culture Explained. It's kind of he's trying to adopt himself into the MCU, some fan theory, fan crafting type stuff. And I sent you the video. Did you watch it?
I did.
What your thoughts on it? The Wolverine Files.
It's definitely like a type of fan fiction. It's intelligent. It's smart. Basically, guys, it's like an acted out. Basically, it's from the perspective of like a conspiracy theorist who is he's tracing this unknown guy who people call the Wolverine. And he's pointing out the evidence of his reality in the actual MCU. And so he's pointing out that like he's showing how you can introduce essentially the Wolverine to the MCU. Would you agree with what I just said?
100%. And I think he did a great job of mapping into current lore with fan crafting. And I would say let's watch it, but it's too long, so I'm just gonna link it in the chat right now. I don't know if I have linkable privileges.
I mean, we could always watch parts of it. We could skip ahead at certain points.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. We're making good time. We're 1 hour and 14 minutes in. We started early tonight. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, sure. Share that bitch.
Oh, you can't say that. You can't
what? I've been cursing this entire time.
You can't say you're gonna share anything. It's communism, bro.
Oh.
You don't want people coming around here sniffing around. You don't want Candace Owens showing up like sharing.
Ben Shapiro will come out of nowhere and tax us.
He's been strangely quiet on the internet lately. I don't know what that's about.
Well, he did a thing about movies, which I thought was hysterical.
I love when he does commentary on movies. I'm like, could you imagine going to see a movie with Ben Shapiro? I'm like, it's got to be a bad day and a great day at the same time.
He ended up looking at all the trailers of like the newer movies that are coming out, and he was like, what's worthy of watching? And it was funny to see what he thought was worthy of watching and what was crap.
I actually watched a video today, top 10 new anime movies coming out. I'm trying to get back into anime, but I got some strong feelings about anime that a lot of fans here would not enjoy me saying, but I see some major hentai things elements making their way into popular anime, and I'm just like, yeah, that's just porn, bro. It's just porn.
Oh, of course. We got a share going on.
No, it's Our Beautiful Faces.
Wait, what? You want me to share?
Yeah, you're in control right now.
I thought you were gonna share. My bad. My bad.
No, I can't change the background if I share.
Okay.
Matt says, I like Candace Owens. I find her attractive.
That's what's up.
Ooh, Full Metal Alchemist is my favorite. Mantis fought me tooth and nail when we were kids, when I was like, bro, just watch it. Just watch it. You hated anime back then.
I still kind of hate it. I mean, I don't know, man.
He has complicated feelings.
It is. You have complicated. Yeah, like I hate it when something's really animated out. I'm just like, oh, brother. Oh, brother.
Wait, what did you just know was coming, Bex? What did you just know was coming? All right.
Hello. Right about now, I imagine you're asking yourself who I am and why I'm here. To the first, you can refer to me as Black Box. To the second, it's really quite simple.
No, I was saying pause because he said black box.
Our world has been through an astronomical event. In what felt like the blink of an eye, half of our Earth's population disappeared. And 5 years later, it returned. But in the face of that, we found no answers. Outside of a podcast ran by a minor league Avenger, there was no one in a position of authority coming forward with an explanation. There were no government officials telling us what was going on, and any attempts to use the Freedom of Information Act resulted in us being stonewalled, tied up in court red tape. And to be quite frank, it makes me sick. And so if those in positions of authority refuse to be transparent, refuse to give us the information that we deserve, then I will make them. And so what I'm about to...
Real quick, before we go any further. So guys, this is from Matt. So Matt, you're saying you need to get into anime more. So in terms of, I was actually thinking of, and I was actually researching the stuff I've seen this year, and I was actually thinking of doing an animation top 10 list. I don't know if I'm going to do it. However, I will say the animes that got up on there, which you can just watch because they're anime movies, not series,
Right.
are Bubble, Jujutsu Kaisen 0. Those are the two big ones. Technically, they do it in the style of anime, but Catwoman Hunted is the DC movie. I like that too.
Bro, literally my mom's sharing her Crunchyroll account with me, right? Shout out to my mom's big fan, lover of anime. My issue is that I watched a snippet of a new anime film coming out where a sniper is fighting off against your typical high-level samurai schoolgirl. And one of the things he does is he uses her colleague as a balancing form for his sniper rifle. And while he's shooting her chesticles, which I believe is the politically correct term, back and forth. And I was like, what the fuck is this bullshit? I'm like, this is just...
Yeah, sometimes the most random animes will come up with the most like weird sexy stuff, and it's awkward.
Tentacles turning into dicks. It's like 2 steps away from that. Continue.
To tell you here will seem far-fetched, maybe even insane, but I promise you, it is all 100% true. At this very moment, there is a man walking around this world who cannot die. The man that I'm referring to has never been photographed or captured on video, and those who have seen him are either dead or they refuse to speak his name. But information has recently come to me that has been able to shed some light on the man that they call the Wolverine. By now, most of you know about Hydra. For those who don't, the simple explanation is that Hydra started as the science division of the Germans during World War II. They were believed to have been defunct by the war's end, but thanks to the information dump regarding S.H.I.E.L.'s
I
files,
think he did a
we
great
now
job.
know that
editing.
Hydra had secretly been taking over.
Yeah, I
and
found a
running S.H.I.E.L.D.
mistake in his thing,
prior
but
to its collapse.
Of course you did.
What you don't know is
I'll
that
tell you when we
during the
get to it, but
time
he
when
has a
Hydra
comic
was in
book
control
mistake.
of S.H.I.E.L.D., they secretly operated a program known as Weapons Plus. Now, I doubt any of you have heard of this project, and it was believed to have been started in the 1940s, but nobody knows for sure. What is important here is that after Captain America was gone, Hydra wanted to make their own version. But with Cap out of the picture and the super soldier formula nowhere to be found, Hydra had to start from scratch. And so if Captain America was the basis behind their attempt to create a new super soldier, then their first attempt we call Weapon 1.
Pause.
You know
Pause
him
it right here.
Yes,
Pause it
so
right here.
this is the mistake. This is the mistake I'm saying.
I knew you were gonna. I knew you were gonna zone in on this.
Steve Rogers is Weapon 1.
Yes, in the Ultimate Universe, and even in proper MCU.
In regular universe, he's Weapon 1 now.
No, in Ultimates, that's where that started. And
No, it didn't. It started in
hold on.
X-Men. It started in X-Men.
I know what you're saying, bro. I'm saying that in the Ultimates, they had him as Weapon Prime, and then they adapted it into Marvel. But most certainly, in the Ultimate Universe first, and you can check me on this, bro. I knew you were gonna come to this part first. In the Ultimates, their version of the mutant and Weapon Prime program, like in the mutant gene, Captain America was the first super soldier, and he was Weapon Prime, and they rolled that over into Marvel.
No, so Grant Morrison's run on X-Men, when they renamed Uncanny X-Men just X-Men,
Yes,
and all these things, he created Weapon Plus. He was the first one to do it, and he has them in their files say Weapon 1
okay,
is Captain America.
bro. Just listen to me. Just hear me out, because remember,
I'm listening.
you put me on to the Ultimate Comics. We
Right.
can agree on that, right? We're not talking about fanboy shit. We're talking about Astoria versus the Haven. You're like,
yeah.
read the Ultimates. And I remember reading it, and I was like, what the fuck? Captain America is a part of Weapons Prime. So I'll concede there. What he's doing here in this moment is he's making it MCU-ified, which is not a word.
I feel you.
He's making Bucky Weapon 1. He's making Bucky Weapon 1 if Hydra led the program. Because you both know in the comics, Hydra did not lead the weapon. They had no involvement in Weapons Prime. There's a bunch of shady Canadians sitting around with Justin Theroux in blackface doing shady Canadian things.
Right. I mean, he's doing good because it is true that if anyone was going to run these programs, it would be Hydra.
Yeah.
Hydra's the competent inner circle of the American government.
And that's amazing. And that's why I think he did really well. He tied MCU lore into it, right? He made Bucky Weapons Prime, which makes sense if Hydra's running up the program. Continue.
As the Winter Soldier. Now, if you've been watching the news for any real measure of time, you already know who the Winter Soldier is, and so there's no real need for an explanation here. On the other hand, weapons 2 through 9 are a bit more murky. There are rumors that some of these weapons had names like Project Sentry, but again, information on this is hard to verify.
Sentry, who I just who I just spoke about in my recent video.
That was cold. I knew you would appreciate that, man. So if you're looking at it, not entirely comics accurate, but from an MCU writing point, at this point in the video, I was like, they should just throw this up on Disney Plus. Like Kevin Feige should send him a letter like, can we use this video? Because that's a great way to tie the Sentry in. Your thoughts?
No, it is. It absolutely is. I'm wondering where they're gonna go. Who knows where they're gonna go? But I feel like Marvel has to do a lot of fixing. Although the more DC flounders and it doesn't know what they're doing, that's good for Marvel, because Marvel's had a bad phase. And you'd think this would be a good time for DC to strike.
No. They failed. They
failed. This was their opportunity. Now they're taking a break the same time Marvel is. No, when Marvel's taking a break, you go, no, we're gonna lash out with our movies. We're putting 3 out this year, bitch.
So real quick, before we get forward, so you've heard the speculation in regards to Thunderbolt, and I want to make sure I say this speculation. They were apparently, according to scoopers, if you want to trust those motherfuckers, looking for a Superman-esque character to put in the Thunderbolts as their like Omega fighter or the person that they were gonna.
Yeah, that was in my Henry Cavill video, bro.
Exactly. I know. I'm referencing your video.
Right.
But the original interpretation, some people are reporting on, they wanted to use Icarus, but obviously at the end of the Eternals, what does Icarus do? Dumbass flies into the sun. I think a way to fix that would have been, instead of Icarus flying into the sun, he's disenfranchised. He just woke a fucking Celestial up that they never reference again in Phase 4 at all. That some fucking huge giant is waking up in Antarctica, and then another one comes from space. But after everyone getting snapped out, I guess.
I mean, basically, they want to distance themselves from
Eternals.
Actually, it's funny that although it's not the most hated Marvel movie, but it's considered the least successful.
Yeah, it does not connect in any way, shape, or form to what's going on. But
so they don't want to add any of those characters. They don't want to bring Icarus in there.
Yeah, but so the original reports are that Icarus was going to be the Superman-esque character in Thunderbolt.
Right.
And a part of me understands how they could have made that work, because I do understand the conundrum of Sentry. Just like Superman, Sentry, Blue Marvel, these two characters, you just can't roll them out in movies. Some people are like, well, what about Gladiator? I'm like, no, Gladiator's been beat before. But if you introduce Blue Marvel or Sentry, or hell, even Hyperion, these are the best Marvel ripoffs of Superman.
Yes, they really are. Yeah.
You can't just beat Hyperion in the fight. For God's sakes, Blue Marvel just sunned the original Beyonder in a comic book recently. Are you up to speed on this?
Oh, no, I didn't know this.
Yeah, so I thought Icarus would be a good choice, but go ahead. Roll the footage. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
What we do know is that in the 1960s, that in addition to the Winter Soldier, Hydra secretly operated a wet work team through the CIA.
Perfect.
The group was known as Team X, and to put it simply, these guys were the best there was at what they did. These guys toppled governments, they killed dictators, and there's even rumors that they were loaned to Russia in order to build a training regimen for their Black Widow program. Now, according to
this is actually comics accurate. Did you know that Wolverine trained Black Widow in the comics?
So I didn't know that, but I knew they knew each other back in the day, because for people who don't know this, but like the Black Widow from the comic books actually is much older
and much more powerful.
Yeah, and much more powerful. And like, I really can't stand that they kind of avoided totally avoided giving her powers. But the nanoprobes in her system are supposed to keep her young and fruitful and alive. And there are like flashbacks to him back in like the 40s with ScarJo. Not ScarJo, but Black Widow. And I hate that they took that out.
Yeah. I thought you would enjoy this.
Joss Whedon just made her like, they're just like, she's just a hot chick with a gun.
Deal with it. I'm sorry. Roll.
No, it's all good.
According to my sources, Hydra eventually brought Team X into Weapons Plus as their 10th attempt to create super soldiers with the Weapon X program. And unlike previous programs, Weapon X used a combination of artificial memory plants, physical enhancements, and gene therapy. Now, the process of artificial memory implants allowed Hydra to create a literal life of lies to ensure compliance at every level. As far as physical enhancements were concerned, up until recently, we didn't know what enhancements had been made. But thanks to my contacts, we know that in the 1950s, Hydra had become aware that vibranium deposits existed in places outside of the Kingdom of Wakanda. Specifically, these deposits were in the Atlantic Ocean. Now, for reasons that remain unexplained, Hydra abandoned their drilling efforts shortly after starting, but they were able to secure a sample. Using this limited sample, Hydra's R&D division was able to blend vibranium with several other elements of unknown composition.
Brilliant.
And indeed, the formula for this new metal still remains a mystery. The only thing we know is that Hydra called this new metal adamantium. This ultimately brings us to the gene therapy process. Prior to her death, I made contact with Dr. Carol Hines, one of the lead scientists on the Weapon X program. She refused to identify her colleagues, but she did reveal that as part of the program, each member was screened for genetic abnormalities. I was told this was a routine process. and that according to Dr. Carol Hines, Hydra had discovered that the man known as the Wolverine contained a gene that did not match any known database. When this gene was activated, it appeared to grant a healing factor. Now, according to Dr. Hines, this is the reason why the Wolverine was the only survivor of the adamantium bonding process. After this, all we know, and for reasons that Dr. Hines would not reveal, somehow the Wolverine escaped, and his whereabouts have been unknown ever since. Now again, I know this...
I gotta say this. We've seen his breakout, Wolverine's breakout from Weapon Plus.
How many times?
Like 2 or maybe 3 times in these movies too, at least, and they are so G-rated, like they don't really show it.
Yeah.
And if MCU is going to do this, and I want them to stop Disney-fying things, they need to actually have a bloodbath.
Mantis, you're of Haitian descent, so you'll understand this statement I'm about to say. Wolverine, when he left, when Logan, James Howlett, broke out from Weapon X, it is what Jamaicans and Trinidadians and Haitians refer to as everyone get dead. He killed everyone, bro. He killed
I want him killing I want killing janitors. I want him fucking killing the girls who work at the Starbucks for the scientists. There's a kiosk down in the lobby. I want him just murdering everybody. And they showed us in Wolverine Origins, and then later on they did it. They had the audacity to do it again in Apocalypse, and yet it was once again totally cheesy.
Total bullshit. It was more violent, but it was bullshit for sure. Go for it.
Seems like something preposterous. I know this seems nonsensical, but I think it's important to bring this information to you, whether you choose to believe it or not. Because I believe that we as the people of this earth, we deserve the right to make the most informed decision about this planet that we possibly can. We deserve to have this information, and we deserve to know what's going on. And so this is Black Box signing off. Make sure you stay vigilant, and to make sure you stay safe.
All right, so obviously it suffers from the same thing that most fan-made things suffer from, but it does better than most fan. I say it's right up there in regards to the type of things that Star Wars theory would do. So what are your thoughts on it, first and foremost, as a fan-made piece of work?
So I think it's well done. It's well researched. The kid knows what he's talking about. It is well done. It is absolutely well done. I kind of feel bad for him.
Motherfucker's got 2.5 million subscribers.
Oh, well, that's good. But like he has offered up a great way to bring up Wolverine, but I'm telling you, I bet you the MCU is going to fuck that up. The introduction of Wolverine and everything,
Yeah.
Matt says, I'm the same boat as Mantis. They should have given Black Widow her powers. I have to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the Purge mask with the Laverne Cox voice. Laverne. I don't know who that is. Laverne Cox.
Anyway, move on.
Yeah. He didn't like the host. He's playing the part of those conspiracy theorists that you see on YouTube all the time. And my mother watches them all the damn day. I think it was well constructed. It was well researched. It's in terms of fan fiction, it's really good. I just have a feeling that they're gonna mess it up. You know what? I honestly think that's why Marvel's taking so long to actually introduce mutants, because they don't have no idea what they're gonna do. Same with Fantastic Four. You know what?
Yes.
You know what would have made Phase 4 way better?
What?
If they actually did what they originally thinking of doing and just introduced the fucking Fantastic Four. Back in WandaVision, when she's like, I have I know a space engineer, mechanical engineer. The person who came should have either been Reed Richards or the Blue Marvel, period.
Yeah.
They should have constantly kept giving us what we want. And they keep postponing. You know why? They don't know what they're doing. They're clearly someone who doesn't know what they're doing.
So here are my thoughts, right? In regards, so you know that I am a lifelong Wolverine fan, but one of my major
I
complaints,
may have heard that before.
one of my major complaints with Wolverine, a few of my major complaints with Wolverine, one being that they don't know how to write him, right? They don't know how to use him properly in the arc, and two, whenever they introduce another badass character by their standards, that badass character has to beat Wolverine's ass. And I have proof of that. When they introduced Gambit, what did they do? They had
Right.
Gambit beat Wolverine. The
You know,
man,
like I was about to say holodeck, danger room thing. I remember that.
Archangel beat Wolverine. Anytime there's a new character,
Which, by the way, that was bullshit.
fucking Marrow.
Because he sends a bunch of his razor wing like feathers at him, but that should have not stopped Wolverine. But they have him go like, oh, he falls over. I'm like, why did he fall over? He's taking machine gun blasts.
Bro, they had fucking Marrow cheap shot Wolverine, right? So whenever they
I hate that bitch.
Whenever they introduce a new character, they got to beat Wolverine. I think that the essence of what Rob is doing here is that if you introduce a character like Wolverine and you want to do him right for the first time in illustration or in publication or in movies, this has to be a character that is worse than the Winter Soldier. Just think about that for a second. Why did you love Captain America Winter Soldier? That was the best version of the Winter Soldier we've ever seen.
Well, he's able to take out armies, but somehow when he becomes good, he's a pussy and he can barely fight Falcon.
So exactly, bro. So imagine rolling out a Wolverine in the MCU. I think that the Wolverine I would roll out in the MCU would still very much be under the control of Weapons Prime. And then for story purposes, for PG-13 purposes, the redemptive arc that they need to use is that they're going to break him of that Weapons Prime programming, right? I thought
Matt says I think they should have all mutants on Krakoa and Shield because of mutant powers, kind of like the Hickman run.
I agree with that. That would absolutely be great. I think they should not use the mainline Wolverine for the MCU, and I think they should use the Ultimates version of Wolverine, which is actually my favorite version of Wolverine.
Yes, because the problem, you know what it is. I really, and this is a perfect example of what happened with DC. The ultimate universe of Marvel started having some problems, mainly because they put that idiot Jeff Loeb in charge.
Yeah.
And then they said, you know what? We're going to kill the universe and merge it. And any characters who's worthy will bring over. Fuck that. Keep Ultimate going.
Yeah. Yeah. And
so I agree. Well, what it is there is a lot of stupid things going on in Ultimate. However, there's a lot of streamlining of characters that I like, particularly Wolverine. I liked Miles Morales when he lived in a world without a Peter Parker. That was great. There's a bunch of shit going on there.
I like their version of Venom, even though I enjoy the King in Black, and they rolled over the Ultimate. I don't know if you know this, but the Ultimate's version of Venom, the symbiote itself, is in mainline Marvel.
See, like that's an example of an Ultimate thing I don't like. I prefer mainstream over Ultimate.
Yeah, the engineered version. I do like the fact that when they brought over the Ultimate's symbiote, it applied to the same rules, but it was different.
Right, it doesn't make sense that it's made there, but it's hanging out with the aliens. Like it doesn't like.
Well, see, for instance, I like the maker, Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, the evil Reed Richards. I like that too.
He gets a hold of the symbiote, right? And Eddie Brock has to confront him after they've had kind of an exchange. And he's looking at Ultimate version of Reed Richards after having an exchange with him. He's like, it's strange. I'm looking at him. I know he's in the room, but I can't sense him. And the symbiote tries to warn him. He's like, Eddie, there's something wrong. And the maker had found a version of the Ultimate symbiote. And it was absolutely a badass moment because you realize you're like, oh, that's a great way to tie that shit in. But if you're going to bring in Wolverine, you have to bring him in a way in the MCU where it's like, make him intimidating. And I don't think we've ever gotten that form of Wolverine, except for
Even in Logan,
He was not.
still very much was the old version of shitty Wolverine from
Yeah.
Fox.
Yeah.
Matt says, I agree with Steve, used the Ultimates Wolverine. I feel that. I gotta say, I love his introduction to the X-Men.
Yeah. No,
that whole thing that like he's on the X-Men, you're like, why did he join the X-Men? And it turns out he was a freaking assassin for Magneto the whole fucking time.
Exactly. And it turns out he might be Wanda and Quicksilver's dad too. And I was like, yo, this is fucking crazy.
Oh my god, because he fucked Magneto's wife one night when he was in the mountains. That was fucking great.
Let's get it in. But I did enjoy Rob's fan theory. If I'm a Kevin Feige, now you're gonna agree with me wholeheartedly on this, but unlike James Gunn, who's engaging content creators on YouTube, right? If I'm a Kevin Feige, I see this video and I'm like, man, this guy's got something. I call Rob the next day. Hey, we got to judge some things that you did in that video, but we want you to do a version for us, and we're gonna roll it out on Disney Plus. Your thoughts?
Well, I think they're not going to do that. What they're going to do is they're going to just steal the idea because they can,
right?
And they have to give them no credit, and they can claim they never saw it, right? Which is probably more likely what they're going to do.
Right.
That's the problem with putting fan fiction up. I put up fan fiction. I used to put up fan fiction on my channel, but that's the thing. Like they can literally rip you off, and there's nothing you can do about that. I think this what he created does a good job for the introduction of Wolverine. However, it doesn't make room for the rest of the X-Men. And so they really need to start explaining mutants. They really need to get on this. I think they're behind on this whole energy. They need to start explaining who mutants are, because by the time they come, we're not going to believe it unless it's explained to us. Now, they tried to put Miss Marvel into the idea of being a mutant, which was just horrible, man. It's just so horrible. It's just so... I mean, what do you think about the whole Miss Marvel being a mutant?
You're not going to like my answer. I get it. At some point, you're going to make a useless property useful, right?
Okay, I feel that.
And I'm looking at that, and I'm like, it's expendable. We got to tie the mutants in.
They want to give her validity by associating with the X-Men.
So I'm not mad at that, right? I'm not mad at that.
I'm mad that she's the first mutant we see. Here's the thing: Wanda and Quicksilver are clearly mutants.
Yeah,
they just don't say it. But I am kind of pissed that she's one of the first mutants we see. Like we have the mutant Miss Marvel, Miss Marvel. Before we get Cyclops or Jean Grey. It's just weird.
Well, wait, here's something that's really going to tickle your pickle right now, right? So we almost have it almost confirmed in WandaVision that Wanda had some type of power before, right?
Yeah.
So it could be the prophetic.
And the thing just amplified their powers.
Yeah, it could be the prophetic Scarlet Witch thing, or she had a mutant X gene, right? Here's something that I think we all missed in the WandaVision, right? Rambeau's daughter. That would have been even better. Now, I would have taken that 100%. When she's walking through Wanda's reality scape and her powers manifest, if you would have told me that happened because her mutant gene...
I actually prefer that. I prefer what you're saying to she went through the barrier and got powers. That's stupid.
But it's not too late for them to do that. Actually.
Yeah, they could totally do that. They could be like, because actually that's happened to mutants before. Mutants are like, wasn't there blah, blah, blah that gave me powers? They're like, no, you had powers and the blah, blah, blah brought them out.
Exactly.
Right.
So you and I, in regards to mutants, in regards to X-Men lore canon, where they're going with the MCU, they can do whatever they want. Those are just some missed opportunities. We're on the same page. Here's my issue, right? And I'm just going to say this, and this is me admitting I'm a fanboy. We got Deadpool 3, which is not in filming or anything like that at this point. They need to leave Logan alone, right? It needs to remain in continuity for what happened in that X universe over there. But the Wolverine we get in the MCU cannot not be intimidating. Like, it's got to be Bucky level Winter Soldier rated R for me personally. Like, it's got to make sense. And I would say the same thing in regards to the comics. John Hickman came on, and I loved everything he did with the X-Men, but the one thing they've always gotten wrong is Wolverine. They never give you a reason to buy a Wolverine comic. Just like Blade. Why do I need to buy these comics? There's no reason for me to read this shit. There's no reason for, like, he's the best at what he does. Who gives a fuck? You've revamped his history so many times. How do I know he's the best?
Right. Wolverine is particularly a mess.
Yeah.
Wolverine's all over the goddamn place. I can't keep. I think one time I was reminiscing about some origin about him, like one aspect of his character. Like, no, that was a false memory from blah blah blah. And I was like, and I knew that too, and I forgot. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. And you can't keep track of what is real or what isn't.
It's true.
You know, it's absurd. And that's another good thing about the Ultimate Universe. The Ultimate Universe slimmed down everyone's origin and story, less convoluted shit. Like, for instance, you heard about this whole thing about Spider-Woman, which I did not know.
Well, which part? That she's black, or where are we going with this?
The original origin for her that they told in the comics, these fucking idiots, was that she was actually a spider that Hydra turned into a human. And then later on, when they realized that was stupid, they had it that Hydra just gave her the memories of a spider so that she could use her powers better. Like, why? This is crazy, man. It's crazy. See, mainstream 616. Some of the stories are just so out there, so bizarre.
Did you do a review of the Spider-Verse trailer? Did you do that?
I did not.
So that leads me to believe that Mantis saw that trailer and he was like, fuck this trailer. He's like, fuck this trailer.
We already talked about it in Fanboy. You know what I'm saying? Here's what it is. I am now pissed that she's Jessica Drew.
Okay. No, I get
she should be Valerie the Librarian.
Okay, listen, man. Listen, I'm gonna give you the long and short of it because I have the same problem with the MCU Wolverine that I have with Blade. Right? These properties don't mean a lot to most people, but they mean a lot to my small minority group. And by minority, I mean my racial breakdown. I understand that the Blade community, we're small, but we're fierce, right? We're fierce and we're vocal.
Proud warriors who don't put up with shit.
Blade needs to be done properly. And I understand that Wolverine should be done in a way that maybe I haven't seen in the comics. So I'm just being frank with you, man. If we can get the Russos back in, or whoever wrote The Winter Soldier, I would want them to write Wolverine's entering into the MCU. He should be a background character that's been responsible for some of the greatest assassinations that we didn't know existed, and then his redemptive arc. I don't want him. I don't want him just rolling in.
You want to hear my opinion?
Go for it.
I think they should bring Wolverine into Avengers, but not the other X-Men.
I'm with that. I'm with that.
Yeah, I think I understand that opening the floodgates of the X-Men will create more stories and adventures for them, but how big is the MCU going to get? If you notice, it's at the point where it's gotten so big, it's just kind of like falling apart.
Well, that's because it should have ended. Let's say something, let's be real.
Endgame was really the end.
Yeah, that should have been the end. And I told my mom that. She's like, no, I want more. And I'm like, Mom, you don't want more of this. I promise.
Yeah, you don't want more. And here's one thing. I know you're very protective of the more I think about it, I'm like, this is not a great movie.
Well, that's because you're a racist and I'm a
Here's what I'm saying. I kind of wish only the best elements would air, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I am #recast T'Challa.
I am now that I realize so would not recast him.
No, I always have been, but I understand.
I know you have. I know you and Courtney have. And I just feel like just watching what they gave me, I was like, sure, he's all right, but
no, I would have been okay with the Shuri arc, but there was a reason she became Black Panther. There was a story behind that. As limited as it was, there was a reason.
Limited, yeah.
The reason they gave us in the movie doesn't fit for her to be the permanent Black Panther. And spoiler, it doesn't even fit with the post credit they gave us, right? Because the post credit they gave us for that movie makes the timeline even more convoluted. So I would agree with you on that. There are huge problems with Wakanda Forever. But because I'm a black man, I won't say anything bad about it.
I see that. I see that going on. And they look at me, they're like, you don't understand. You're only half black. And I'm like, what? Like, he doesn't fully understand how important this movie is. And I'm like, it wasn't that great. But yo, before it ends, I do not want to make my cover or the title wrong. We have to talk about Megan Thee Stallion.
Yes. Thank you. So short. I hope that all you folks who have given me hell over the past fucking year, calling me a Megan hater. Public is not here, so you're not
Public and Gray aren't here. They don't come to our streams anymore, so fuck them.
Whoa.
Wait, I love them. Don't get me wrong, I love them, but they don't respond to our call anymore. So whatever. Now we can go back to hating Megan Thee Stallion.
So here's the deal, right? Megan Thee Stallion.
I would have defended them, but they decided not to be there for their girl.
So Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion have been caught up in a actual court case in regards to Megan Thee Stallion allegedly being shot in the foot by Tory Lanez, a short rapper from Canada, aka Canada. Don't worry about it. If you don't know who these people are, let me just lay it out for you. Tory Lanez.
There's no way anyone knows who Tory Lanez is because
not anymore. Tory Lanez, and let me just start here. Despite what DaVinci has said, I am not a red pillar. Anyone that
has no
me,
hits, it bothers shit out of me. He has no hits.
I'm not a red pillar. I am not in a place where I need to defend things to the point of being wrong. And I think there's some people from the red pill community, just like from the feminist community, will not admit when they are wrong in regards to their positions. Tory Lanez is a rapper from Canada, not a good one in my opinion, who was not in a relationship in spite of what you might have heard.
Everyone on the news is like, her former boyfriend. Matt says, yeah, F Megan. She belongs to the streets. And then he says, Canada's gross.
The streets. Let me just make it even more short. He was accused of shooting Megan Thee Stallion in the foot and screaming out the term dance bitch when he shot her in the foot. And this is because of them leaving Kylie Jenner's house in some type of stupor. The narrative has been, and what he was effectively canceled for, quasi, was that he shot Meg Thee Stallion in the foot. A woman who's been paraded as one of the greatest new MCs out, even though her sales do not record that. And Mantis, you can be a witness to this. Whenever I've shitted on Megan in these internet streets, I've had people come after me. Well, there are trials underway, and I just want you to know that if convicted, Tory Lanez would face up to 10 years, possibly 18, depending on the judge. They've been in trial for the past year, and now they're doing the prosecution and prosecuting and defense statements and witness statements and etc. Most importantly, a witness took the stand today or yesterday who lives in the area where this whole thing happened. So let me bring up the speed. The original narrative is that Megan Thee Stallion's best friend was in the car with them when this happened, and she had said that Tory Lanez shot her. Recently in trial, she pleaded the fifth. And if you knew anything about the legal system, whenever someone pleads the fifth, Mantis, why do they plead the fifth? Why are you allowed to plead the fifth?
So you have the right to not incriminate yourself.
Boom. Exactly. Right. So her best friend pleaded the fifth so she would not incriminate herself, and then testified to the fact that her and Megan Thee Stallion had gotten to a physical altercation, or had gotten to an altercation because she found out that night that she was actually the one that was hooking up on a regular basis with Tory Lanez, and Megan was the one that introduced them, and she smashed Tory Lanez behind her friend's back. But she pleaded the fifth first, and then she got treated as a hostile witness. So we have that on the record. And then Megan Thee Stallion's bodyguard, her bodyguard, was called in for testimony. And can you ask me what happened next, my good brother?
What happened next?
This motherfucker was declared a missing person, not absconding, right? Absconding or fleeting testimony means that you're avoiding coming to court.
What?
Being declared a missing person. And then I read a TMZ article where, the LA County Police, or California State, troopers weren't ready to declare him a missing person, but the original statement was he was missing.
I had no idea any of these shenanigans were going on.
Yes. Do you know what happens when you're declared a missing person? You're not absconding, even though you could possibly be. Missing persons has a
right.
We all know what that could potentially mean, right? And then a person who lived in the community where this entire situation took place, a man who had been called to the stand, came up today, and I sent you the link. We're not going to play it right now because it's too long. But there's some lawyers that attend these trials. They're not scoopers, but they're this is their YouTube grind.
Well, what's conspiracy? What was this guy getting breaking down to?
No, not a conspiracy. The witness.
Yes. What do they say?
He said,
because here's what I'm saying. The reason why I call conspiracy, and here's what I'm saying. Just because it's conspiracy doesn't mean it's not right.
No,
but
that's
mainstream news does not want this other narrative being told. Yeah, their narrative is Tory Lanez did it, and Megan Thee Stallion is a precious and beautiful animal or woman and needs to be treated as a golden unicorn.
And if you don't like her appearance and She-Hulk, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
So this witness came up and basically stated that from what he's seen, there were two women in an altercation in an alley behind his home.
Two women.
And most importantly, Mantis will drop the link that the initial shots fired were not from a male, but from a woman. And that the male in question or involved in this situation either tried to subdue or responded in shots. Now, I'm paraphrasing because I want you to hear it for yourself. But that goes against the narrative that Tory Lanez said, "Dance, bitch," and shot at her foot.
But so my question is, why is Megan covering for her homegirl, but trying to do
her homegirl was covering for her. Her homegirl was covering for her. Her homegirl was insinuating and saying that she was agreeing with the narrative that Tory Lanez has shot Meg in the foot. But in actuality, her pleading the fifth makes her have motive.
But I'm saying who shot Megan in the feet?
Well, according to this witness, a woman shot first.
So her friend did.
Yeah, and if you're just listening to the testimony,
right. So the theory is her friend did, but why is she covering for her friend? Why does she want Tory Lanez to go down for this?
I don't know. But here's the thing. Her friend pled the fifth, and the witness said the woman shot first. Her friend pled the fifth, and that that keeps her from motive.
But you know what would be funny? If she shot herself.
That would be amazing.
She would never. That's a good reason why she would never want anyone to ever know that. In that she's trying to make it as a rapper. No fucking way that she accidentally shot herself in the foot.
Bro, all I'm saying is that I'm going to send. I wanted to send those links to public and to a few other people, but I was like, again, in regards to interpretation of what's true, all I'm saying is there's a witness account saying that a woman shot first and that a male person either responded to the shooting physically by trying to subdue them or shot back. Either of those things mean that the original narrative is a lie. Now, in regards to Vivica A. Fox and her crew over at the show that she does, and everyone else that's hoisted this up as a man versus woman feminist rally, you never stop to consider that this chick could be lying. And you picked the wrong side. That's my only point. I don't dislike Meg. I dislike you. I dislike her fans that never stop to think that you were willing to let a man go to prison for 10 to 18 years.
18 years is the top. That's fucking crazy, man.
For something he didn't do.
And did Jennifer Walters represent Megan in court, says Matt? He says, Han shot first. Hope that bitch lost a couple of toes. Fuck your toes, bitch.
That's all I have to say. I want all my feminist friends to come to the table and look at this. You were so willing to back Meg in hopes that she was right at the expense of someone innocent, potentially, allegedly, going to jail. Now, if it turns out that she lied, Will you retract your statements? Because Tory Lanez, I don't give a fuck about that dude. I'm not a fan of his.
He's Canadian. Who gives a fuck about him?
Fuck him. But I am against innocent people, not men, innocent people going to jail. And if you claim to be a social justice warrior, you should care about this too, right? You should care about people lying on the stand and sending innocent people to jail. That's my only point. I'm done with it.
Good points.
You should care about this, right? You should.
No, I'm gonna actually pay attention to it more as we get closer to a verdict. We're gonna talk more about this upcoming shit. There has to be more shit than James Gunn out there.
Oh, fucking James Gunn, that silver-haired fox, beautiful bastard.
That says they bet on the wrong horse. Sorry, stallion.
By the way, I don't give a fuck what they say down south. Genetics are genetics. A stallion is a male.
Yes. Well, that's the point of her name. It's exactly like someone calling themselves the king. Women are like, yo, I'm DD the King. Remember on Spoon, DD the King? And I love DD the King. DD the King's my girl. But she does not have the right to use that term. The king. I was very offended. I was like, you mean DD the Queen? Don't even try it.
Empress, Queen, you're all good on that one. The Canadian.
She could even say goddess, but she can never be a king.
This is my thing. This is not Meg hate. Again, I want to make sure I'm being clear. This is about not sending a motherfucker to prison for 10 years.
Yeah, 10 to 18 years is just too much. That's ridiculous. You would have thought he tried to murder her. The Canadian and Meg hate is something, says Backstory. All the women seem very protective of Meg the Stallion. I don't know what's up with that.
I know what's up with it. People, they trauma bond, right? And which is a natural thing. People trauma bond, and they assume that the trauma they went through is the same thing that someone's reporting.
Right. They hear something and they go, I hear you, sister. I used to have a fucking asshole boyfriend. Oh my God, I feel you. Right. Rogue Radio says, I just want to say, shut up, Meg. Matt says, oh, is Dee Dee that fat girl you're always talking about the spoon mantis? No. No. Dee Dee the King is a queen. She's a wonderful person. She's a fucking wonderful person. Great streamer. Love her. She doesn't have the right to be calling herself a king, though. Because she's very clearly a woman. But I do respect her. No, she's not the fat chick.
With that said, though, hashtag don't believe men. Hashtag don't believe women. Hashtag believe the facts.
Believe the facts. Follow the facts, guys.
Follow the facts.
Princess Beck says, oh, no, I'm not protective at all. I'm just pointing shit out. I feel you. But, this has been another amazing episode of Fanboy Modeling School. Hopefully there'll be other news going on. True drama.
Yeah.
Next week when James Gunn is done. Done being an asshole.
Hopefully we'll have something to talk about besides the DC, and we can get to other things that are rolling out pretty soon here, like The Last of Us. God of War just got greenlit on Amazon.
Oh, how do you feel about that real quick before we stop the episode?
I'm okay
with it. You sound like Kanye West doing a Netanyahu impression. No, I feel that is a recipe for a horrible show. Right?
It is. Bro,
Last of Us, I have no interest in seeing.
I'm going to watch The Last of Us. I never played the game. I know nothing about the lore.
But doesn't it look like every zombie movie ever?
It does, but I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to be honest.
You watch whatever the fuck they put in front of you, eh?
No, I'm going to watch it because I like I like Pedro Pascal. And I know
Are you going to go to the DCEU movies?
No. Yeah, well, probably.
Oh my God, you're a shill.
No.
You're a shill, mate. You're a shill.
I have your ticket and my ticket pre-lined up, and I know for a fact you're gonna go.
They're like Superman with fart jokes, directed by James Gunn. Yeah, fuck that. Another time of him in the barn learning how he can run super fast. Fuck that. Matt Cat loves that show, Superman and Lois. And what I love about it is it's the opposite of a prequel. Instead of starting at the very beginning, it starts in the future where he already has kids and he's an established hero. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, I think that's
I'd rather see that.
departure. I think that's a great departure from the CW madness, but I don't want to see that guy as Superman either. You know, we still got DC movies we got to get through. We got to get through the new Shazam movie, potentially a Blue Beetle movie if they don't can that shit. We got to get through Aquaman.
James Gunn said Blue Beetle's still on the thing. Yeah, no, I want to see them all. I want to see all these things. They're great. Rogue Radio's leaving. Says Merry Christmas. Have a beautiful night and Merry Christmas. God bless you, Rogue. We've got hashtag fangirls for fanboys. Thank you, Bex. And Matt says, great stream, guys. Thank you. Can't wait to see the next one. Superman and Lois is awesome. Thank you. Guys, tomorrow, return of Mothership Monday. I know what you're thinking. It's Wednesday. Yeah, that's how it worked out. But Mothership Monday, Christmas edition, will be on tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern.
Right.
Here. Well, no, not on Fight Juice, but, somewhere.
Yeah. I'll be there. Yeah. Mantis, I have nothing to promote besides Pillow Talk with Bex tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern. And, well, if not tomorrow night, Thursday.
What app?
Spoon. It's going to be on Spoon.
Oh, Max. I love you.
You sign us off. I got to pee so bad. Good night, everyone.
That's a good night from my man. Thank you, guys. So I will be streaming tomorrow on Mothership Monday, and I might be doing a Rogue Plan as well, Christmas edition. But after that, then we're going to go on a little break. But I'll be back next week. It'll be great. For anyone there that I'm not going to see in streams or whatever, Merry Christmas. Thank you for stopping in. We've had so much fun. You guys are all freaking amazing. Remember, go out there. Don't take crap from anybody. Live that dream. Keep being a nerd. Keep tuning in to Fanboy Modeling School. Please subscribe, guys. Love you all. Until next time, ciao from motherfucking now.